Peace. I just wanted to take a moment and address the Kendrick Lamar engagement to his high school sweetheart, Whitney Alford, and the criticism surrounding it because she's light skinned. And I think a lot of people expected different from him simply because you look at his song Black of the Berry and you look at other different things that he's been advocating more recently in his music in terms of black consciousness, that his mate or his companion would be a reflection of what was in his music. And one of the major critics who came out against Kendrick is a woman by the name of Rashida Marie Strober, who has a master's degree in political science from the University of South Florida. And she called him a fake conscious coon. And Rashida, in the mid 2000s, moved out to Cali to pursue her career in acting. So she's been working in that industry for some time now in regards to the performing arts, the creative arts. She's worked in theater. But if you go all the way back to like 98, she started a Dark Skinned Girls initiative to promote awareness and to help reinforce the positive self-esteem of dark-skinned people as a whole, but dark-skinned women more specifically. So that's something that she's been doing for a long time now. So she took the opportunity to speak out against Kendrick Lamar because of his choice in his fiance. And I wanted to offer some perspectives on that whole incident to just give some angles that people may not be considering. First and foremost, it's important to keep in mind that Rashida is not young in the sense of being in her early 20s. She's at least mid 30s. And because she is at least that age, she's coming from a perspective of assessing him as a hip hop artist with the experience of knowing what the golden era hip hop was. And I mention that because this was pre-colonial corporate takeover. The pre-colonial corporate takeover of hip hop was when rap artists had a lot more integrity, and a lot more of the things that we did and said was reflective of our everyday life. If we were writing stories, you knew right off the cuff that this was a story that we were writing, like Children's Story by Slick Rick. If we were talking about things that we aspired to, like I Got It Made by Special Ed, we knew that these were things that we aspired to. We weren't lying. So there was a different level of integrity pre-colonial corporate takeover of hip hop. So people had a different level of respect and expectancy of the things that came out of people's mouth, and we had more trust in the fact that if a person is saying this, then I'm pretty much gonna see this in their everyday life. And this was before videos and all that, where you only saw hip hop artists at shows. And people had to have a lot more integrity during that time. Now, when corporations saw an opportunity to make money off of that component of hip hop culture, which is rap music, they took it and they colonialized it, which means they began to put money, resources behind rap artists, which means they had a controlling interest in the music, where these artists that had more of creative freedom and had more integrity beforehand now had to dance to the music of the person that was playing it. And now you begin to see a different breed of rapper begin to come out that didn't have the same level of integrity, that created music that more reflected what was the mindset and the mission of the corporation, as opposed to the mind and the mission and the concerns and considerations of the people. So I say all of that to say, Rashida is analyzing it from that perspective first and foremost. She's looking at it like, your music is supposed to be a reflection of how you're living. And that's a fair assessment, because that's how rap music as a component of hip hop culture began. People weren't just saying one thing and doing the total different. It was, we took pride in being unique or being original or not biting each other. And being conscious of who it is that we say that we are and what it is that we're striving to do. This is pre-colonial corporate takeover of hip hop or rap music in particular. So she's looking at it from that perspective. Now, I didn't agree with her calling him a fake conscious coon. That you don't got to call the man names. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand that with her dark-skinned girls initiative, why it was important for her to stand up for what it is that she's been continuously advocating for all of these years. Now, another thing to keep in mind is rap music nowadays that has been colonialized is a part of the entertainment business. And now, as a part of the entertainment business, you have to look at rappers as no different than any other actor or creative artist or performing artist in that industry. Which means if you're watching a series and there's an actor playing a Christian husband on that series, you don't see, he may be a Scientologist in real life. He may be a Satanist in real life. You don't see people saying, I ain't supporting that series no more because he ain't being true to being a Satanist. Or you may see different actors in movies who are playing heterosexuals, but you find out in real life that they're homosexual. You may not see people saying, nah, I ain't supporting them no more because they not promoting the LGBT community by playing that role in the Avengers. And that's just an example. It's not to say that one of the actors is homosexual, but do you see what I'm saying? You don't see people looking at Robert De Niro saying, I ain't watching Heat no more because, or any of these other films that he's in where his co-actor is a white woman, but it's known for a fact that Robert De Niro is into black women. You don't see people saying they ain't supporting Robert De Niro because in real life he's be down with black women, but in his movies he be having white women. That is to say, you often don't see these other creative artists and performing artists being held to the same standard as rap artists are. I just read an article recently by my brother Killer Mike, and he was talking about that same level of scrutiny that goes on in the criminal justice system. And I have a cousin right now who's sitting behind bars because the DA used a burnt copy of a CD that he made where he was talking about different things and used that against him in court, saying that he did commit the crime because he was talking about doing this, doing that in this CD. But you don't see actors being held to those same standards. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't see performing artists who are in theater doing different things being held to those same type of standards. So you have a whole different level of scrutiny on rap artists that you don't see on other different people. And that's something to keep in mind too. Now, overall, I think the main message that is important with Kendrick Lamar is that, first and foremost, he's a young black man. And his idea or the advocacy of family, marriage, commitment, is much more important than focusing on, well, she's light-skinned, is that and the third, because I think sometimes people are not preserving the best part for themselves. And at his age, you oftentimes don't see a lot of our youth promoting and advocating commitment like that. And I think that's positive and important to see because you don't see it. What you do see is a lot more misogyny. You see men promoting being man whores. You see them doing this, that, and the third, but you don't really see them talking about marriage and about being committed to those who were down with you since day one. And I think that is what is most important. At the same time, I understand where Rashida Marie Strober is coming from. But at the same time, I think that it's important for us to look at his message in terms of commitment and to consider that we can't hold him to the standards of his music and expect that to be a true reflection of something in his everyday life, because it's the music business. And in that industry, the same way you're gonna see actors doing something entirely different than what they're doing in these movies and in these series, you're gonna see that in music as well. So I will that this was inspiring, it was empowering, it was educating for those of you who wanted to get my perspective on that. And also, to not get caught up in all of this colorism stuff and to preserve the best part for yourself. He's promoting commitment, he's promoting family, relationships. And you don't see that a lot of times with his peers in his generation. And that is much more important than talking about, oh, she light skinned. You get what I'm saying? Peace.